Emigration under Meduhed. Before they all dispersed, Meduhed still spoke to them briefly, saying, "Brothers, listen to me carefully, for I have to tell you something of great importance. You saw the man standing on the ledge of the great cliff, high in the mountains. You heard the thunderous sound of his voice, and also noticed the great light enveloping him, which frightened us so much that, driven by our great fear, we ran and ran until we arrived in our familiar neighborhood. You have heard him mention the to us well-known thousandfold hyena. You also heard his warning of 77-fold retaliation, and finally heard his shocking threat of the columns of fire. Now judge for yourselves what can be done under these circumstances. If we allow him to live, he will soon do to all of us as he unscrupulously did to his brothers. But if we take revenge, we have to face 77-fold retaliation with fire from above. Thus we find ourselves now between two lethal alternatives. Whether we do one or the other, certain death awaits us. Let us bury the horrible secret, as the secret of death, deep within us. Then take our wives and children, and in the stillness of night leave this land of horror. We shall push eastward, where we have already noticed a low mountain range, which we shall cross. Then we shall see whether there is still another land beyond this wicked one. Even if there were the end of the world, I think it would be better to live there peacefully and go to sleep in our old age than here in constant anxiety, either to soak the earth with our blood or be burnt to ashes." For the giant on the ledge also said, "Do not look towards the city of Enoch, but to yourselves and to God, who is a faithful deliverer of those who look up to him at all times, in their happiness as well as in their misery, which latter has now reached its peak with us. Therefore, brothers, all of whom are striving for justice, do rely on the God, the Great One on the mountain has poignantly brought to our notice, and let us do that today, rather than tomorrow, when it might be too late. So take heart, trust in God, and let us tomorrow already greet the sun, there near the distant mountain range. Hurry, fetch your families and your belongings as foods and animals, and in 3,000 moments we shall gather here once more, well equipped with clubs. Amen." And behold, the crowd said Amen too, and within 2 hours all were ready for the journey, and it was the second hour of midnight. When Meduhed had counted all the fathers and found them to be all present, he thanked God and fled at the head of the large crowd following him, consisting of 10,000 male and 20,000 female members on as many camels and big donkeys. When the sun rose, they had already quite a while ago reached the distant, low mountain range. Of course, without my special help, this could not have happened as in a straight line. The mountains were at a distance of 30 hours. Here they let their animals graze for 2 hours, and they themselves rested, ate of the fruits they had brought with them, and bid by Meduhed thank God for such a miraculous deliverance. But Meduhed, inspired by the Spirit, went a bit further, accompanied by 10 men, threw himself to the ground in the presence of the 10 companions, ignited in his love for God, and in the light of this love discovered much evil in his heart, whereupon he began to weep and lament in his remorse about his great guilt. When I saw that his penitence was genuine, I wrote in clearly legible furious script the following words into his heart: "Meduhed, rise in the face of my great mercy. You are safe with all those who have followed you, here moved by your loving care. But here you cannot and must not stay long, let alone remain. You see this gorge stretched towards the east, and a little river flowing in that direction. Follow it with a crowd for 70 days, until you come to a great expanse of water. Rest there also for 70 days, and then come again in your heart to me, as you did today, and I will show you the way. how to cross the waters to a distant great land, where you shall be safe without bloodshed from the persecution and cruelty of Lamech, their fratricide. And when you are hungry, you may eat of all the fruits you will find, and plenty on your way, and drink the good water of the river, which will lead you to the great water. And do remember your great God, who is sublime beyond all creation, and think that I have a people on this earth to whom I am a holy, loving Father. When this earth flowed from a great fatherly heart, like a dewdrop on the sun is a tear of mercy for my all-seeing eyes. Oh, then you are still my children. You little crowd seek to become true love, what you once were before the earth carried the wicked race, and the great sun up there burned out of my grace, but now set off and go in my name. Amen. And behold, Meduhed repeated these words aloud to the people, and was deeply moved, and so were the people through him. And they quickly rose and did exactly in accordance with my revealed will. When after a journey of 70 days, Meduhed had, as predestined, reached the shore of the great water of the earth, now called by you the Pacific Ocean, which near the shore partly also in deeper places appeared yellowish, but to far distances shone blue, owing to the mixture of colors at the bottom, a rich content of copper salt, and the rays of the sun refracting therein. He and his people camped along the shore in a region abundant in fruit, exactly where I wanted them to be. When Meduhed and also all who had followed him saw what a good guide I am, he fell on his face and thanked me from the bottom of his heart, and all the people more or less followed his good example, which pleased me. After having thanked me, Meduhed, deeply moved in his heart by my great mercy, rose, looked at the thankful crowd still lying on the ground, and began to weep for joy over my great mercy, which had saved the lives of so many, and restored golden freedom to the ones who for such a long time had lived in harsh servitude, and had now found a place of rest, rich in food and secure under my protection. And when soon the people had risen, strengthened, and very happy, Meduhed climbed to the top of a hillock about 7 fathoms high, or rather overlooking the plain at the height of 7 men, and from there made a lengthy speech. This was placed into his heart from above, and he spoke not one word more or less than he was given, and was thus a good preacher in my name, for the people who needed light and love. And the words of his lengthy speech were as follows. Brothers, look up to me and listen with open ears and hearts to the words I will be speaking to all of you at the inner bidding of God, for they are of the greatest importance. Listen. God the Most High has miraculously liberated us from the murderous hands of Lamech, and has faithfully guided us here to the end of the world, for all of you can see the end of the earth and beginning of the great waters. Look at the land, how beautiful it is, as if it had come to the earth from the high heavens, and every one of us would gladly remain here permanently, if that were possible or allowed. However, this is not God's will, and we may remain here only for 70 days. For during this time Lamech's cruel army, led by Tatahar, will spy out our whereabouts, and woe betide anyone who might fall into their cruel hands. He would be torn to pieces like a lamb by the tiger. Therefore, the Lord in his great mercy has shown me here a place where we must go, and where we shall find ready for us tools similar to those given to his great children who dwell on the earth's mountains. Thereby we shall recognize that he wants to be, and will become our Father too, if we willingly submit to his exceedingly great love, which so far has cared for us so wonderfully, as even the best fatherly heart could not have done, even if it possessed the greatest abundance. We are to take these tools and use them for felling the slim trees. Remove their bark and all the branches, square them on four sides. On top, like the calm surface of water, 10,000 trunks of the best kind, which have only little foliage, shall be prepared like this. Each well-trimmed trunk shall have the length of 10 men, and the width of a man's step, with the nails which in great quantity will be found among the tools. Always sturdy trunks shall be firmly joined together. When this base is completed, on the sides 3 trunks shall be fastened, lengthwise one on top of the other, and broadwise 2 on top of each other. Then the inside shall be well tarred with resin, or pitch from the trees, which in the meantime shall be collected by the wives and children in great quantities. These new structures we shall build along the shores, and on the last day we shall fasten a large branch with green foliage in each corner of the structures, for a sign of the victory won through the great mercy from above. Further instructions we may expect on the last day, according to the great promise I receive when our eyes turn towards the city of Enoch in great fear. And so let us all work together as brothers, since we have no ruler whom we must pay an exorbitant tribute, except for a great God who is Lord of all might and power, infinite from eternity, and also a mighty and just Lord over all masters wherever they may unlawfully be on earth, now and in all future time of times, committing atrocities and murdering their brothers. To our God, who wants to be a father to us, we owe love and unconditional obedience. Whoever will dare and resist shall not be punished by his brothers, either with rods or clubs, but God himself will punish him by withdrawing his grace. Now you know all you need to know at this stage. Therefore assemble, strengthen yourselves with food and drink, thank the Lord, and then without delay start on the commanded great task. Amen.